they've realized very quickly like there is power in your pocket. If you don't feel an affinity with a brand or a product or service, you don't spend the money. And when you don't spend the money, guess who hurt the company? Are we there, fully there yet? Dear God, no. We're so far from it, but we have cracked that block. Right, we've made a few cracks in it. We're starting to actually start to make that change. Heart of everybody is this inherent need to be human and treat everybody with humanity.
How have you experienced diversity and leadership in your career so far?
Um, I would say we've come leaps and bounds, right?
Mhm.
Credit where credit is due. That what we have had is an opportunity to really have transparent conversations, and kudos to the leaders that have come before us who've actually paved that way. And has that journey ended? No, we're still dealing. Like we talk about the far right movements in the UK right now, still taking place in the country right now. In the same way in the United States, we've had that, but we've also had leaders who've actually broken new ground for us and actually spoken up. That's led to policy change, industry change, and as a result, visible change in organizations. What has come very clear, and God bless the younger generations because they're the driving force behind this. They've realized very quickly like there is power in your pocket. If you don't feel an affinity with a brand or a product or service, you don't spend the money. And when you don't spend the money, guess who hurt the company? And the reason they're not spending is they don't see themselves in that product and that service or that experience. So to see themselves, organizations, and you've heard this hot word, need to be culturally relevant. They need to be culturally relevant and speak to the different trigger points and the cultural touch points for these consumers, and that's driving a lot of that change. As a result, and if you do it as reverse engineering it, right? If you think about the work that needs to live and breathe and connect with this multicultural, multifaceted, multi-identifying audience, much younger audience set, so Gen Zs, millennials, and even some of the slightly more forward-thinking Gen Xs. You backtrack it. So if you think about what, so we're a creative agency. Within a creative agency, how can we put out work that really speaks to these people if you don't have the people who understand that audience, who live and breathe that experience, who come from that experience, that heritage? So it becomes a re-engineering of organizations. So in order to get that, then you need to have your team and your makeup of individuals that actually understands this and therefore comes from all these different walks of life, and therefore you start to diversify your workforce. They're going to be different people of different experiences, different cultural touch points, brought up in different parts of the world, speak different languages, have experienced things differently, have multiple identities. Like it's not just male or female, but every sort of spectrum under the book. So if you think about age, gender, race, sexuality, ability, and other sort of spectrums, how do you bring all of that? And you have to diversify your workforce. In order to do so, you need a leadership that knows how to lead a multicultural workforce, right? And speaks in this new language of the current world. And that has driven and forced that change. Are we there, fully there yet? Dear God, no. We're so far from it, but we have cracked that block. Right, we've made a few cracks in it. We're starting to actually start to make that change, and I think I particularly love sort of in the role that I'm at the moment. It's probably the most multicultural executive team I've been on that actually has that. Conscious inclusion is one of our sort of leading sort of north stars, and we do that. And trust me, like even I have sort of upbringing and things that in my life that have forced me to have blinkers on certain things, and I'm growing as a person because I kind of had a perception of life or culture in a certain way, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that. I didn't actually experience that, and now I'm learning in that process as well. So I think being from a leadership point of view, and it's so important, and I hopefully maybe this becomes the title of our conversation: humanity driven not by the color or creed or background of our skins and what we sort of define ourselves at, but at the heart of everybody is this inherent need to be human and treat everybody with humanity. That for me is where leadership should be. And because I do think if we use that and we really hone on that and focus on that as our North Star to lead with humanity, we start to see change in a very, very positive, encouraging way that also leads to fire within each one of us to ensure that we bring humanity to the rooms that we're in, to the environments that we're in, and to the people that we work with.